I hope the first episode is crystal clear to all of you. Anything that you need to ask, that you wish to ask, that still has not come to you, please let me know. Ask a question. Okay, I'll start. So in the first episode, we got a glimpse of what life is at Seemapuri, the outskirts of Delhi, yet miles away, devoid of basic amenities of life, devoid of life itself, and they are bound to live. The suffering community, the rat picker community at Seemapuri. Sahib-e-Alam representing the children particularly, and exploitation, and etc. etc. Sahib-e-Alam staying free from all cares while he is a rag picker, as a rag picker boy, but filled with all worries of life, all anxieties, and the sadness, the gloom, the dejection, the frustration can be seen easily by Anees Jung, and then we can also sense it, that is on his face. Why is he sad? We tried to understand yesterday. Now he is no more his own master. Somebody owns him, his time, his life, and in lieu to his services, he gets 800 rupees a month, 3 times meal. He has a job, but he is sad because now he is no more his own master, and it captures the entire pathos of Sahib-e-Alam's life and the life of others such. And the episode comes to an end, giving us an ample of idea and trying to trigger some empathy in us as well. And we move on to yet another community, that is the bangle-makers community. They are the bangle-makers in the town Firozabad, and they are further a suffering community. Mukesh represents the children out there. Both the episodes, they depict child labor in particular, they refer to that, they address that, and at all levels exploitation is there, that we come to know. This bangle maker community makes bangles, dazzling bangles, representing somebody's dream fulfilled. But the ones who are the creators or the makers of such dazzling, sparkling bangles, colorful bangles, with all the colors of the rainbow in their creation, their own lives are dull. They are sufferers. The children are trapped in the worst situation where their tender skins are exposed to extreme temperature, staying near the furnace, and they are exploited at all levels. Their life is nothing but suffering, suffering and suffering at all levels. Physical harassment, abuse, mental harassment, internal stigmas instilled in them, external stigmas working against them, the world so heavy on them, the load particularly on the children, which they cannot put away. They have to bear that. A child, after working for years in the glass blowing industry, turns blind when he comes to the age of 18 or so. Child marriage is also there, as we see through the observation of Anees Jung. So it's all pathetic. Child labor happening, 20,000 families or people out there working in the glass blowing industry, extreme exploitation. Nobody to support them, nobody to liberate them, nobody to enlighten them. Devoid of the very basic amenities of life. Ultimate sufferers, the children. I want to drive a car, but Mukesh is one such child who dreams. So it's a happy sign that we can understand. I want to drive a car. Mukesh insists on being his own master. Sahib could not. Now somebody owns his time. Somebody is his master. But Mukesh has a dream. He wants to be his own master. Mukesh insists on being his own master, and this is the contrast. I will be a motor mechanic, he announces. But how would be the question in Anees Jung? We too think the same. I want to become this, but how? Mukesh has an answer. He is ready to apply efforts. He has a dream. He is desperate. And he is ready to apply efforts. This is the ultimate thing in Mukesh. Although the condition is no better. Do you know anything about cars? I ask. I will learn to drive a car, he says. Looking straight into my eyes, and he dares to look into the eyes. His dream looms like, it vanishes like a mirage amidst the dust of streets that fill his town, Firozabad, famous for its bangles. Every other family in Firozabad is engaged in making bangles. It is the center of India's glass blowing industry, where families have spent generations working around furnaces, welding glass, making bangles for all the women in the land. It seems they are the supreme creators of somebody's fulfillment. Their bangles are always there. For every sacred ritual or occasion, their bangles are ready to serve the purpose. They are the creators. They are the gods who make bangles, the bangle-makers of Firozabad. But their own life is devoid of any color. It is so dull. Mukesh's family. Now particularly we try to peep into everything through Mukesh. So Mukesh is more than happy when he takes Anees Jung, when he steers the ship, when he guides Anees Jung to his own locality, his street, to his house. See the pathetic condition of the locality of the bangle makers, how in what tormenting conditions they live. Here is a glimpse. I'll read the para. Mukesh's family is among them. None of them know that it is illegal for children like him to work in the glass furnaces with high temperatures. No, in dingy cells without air and light. They have no idea as such. They are ignorant. There is no awareness amongst them, no education. And if there is no education, possibly there cannot be any liberation, because education is the liberating force. When I talk of education, it's not just limited to the books. It is out of the books also, even more. That is life itself that teaches. But nobody is to inspire them, nobody is to teach them even the life lessons. Life comes to them as a harsh reality, and they are all bruised. A day would come when they would be little bit aware, but there are people who are ready to exploit them further. There are people who are powerful enough to torment them with their might, with their powers, with their money, with their strength, with their privileged situation, with their status, with the influences that they have upon them. They are influential people, they are powerful people. I'm talking about the external stigmas, the landlords, the money lenders, the people who are rich, they have powers, the corrupt people out there, be it any department. They are always corrupt people. So, exploitation, child labor, that is the law. If enforced, could get them and all those 20,000 children, big sum. 20,000 children are working as child laborers in those glass blowing industries, and nobody cares for them. They live like poor creatures, they live like dogs and cats, and they live there and they die. Nobody speaks for them. Mukesh's eyes beam as he volunteers to take me home, which he proudly says is being rebuilt. There is renovation that is happening in his house, and he is delighted. His eyes gleam when he says so. Now think of the situation. Somebody has a house, somebody doesn't even have any place to live in, lives in the open. So in comparison to the one who doesn't have any place to find shelter into, even having a hutment is a better option, because at least something is there. So Mukesh's eyes gleams, but the house is not worth living. All wobbly doors and all shaky walls, but at least he has a roof over his head. The only thing that his father could give him is the art of bangle making. He lives there in his family, in his house, and he has one elder brother. Mukesh's elder brother is there, and there is Mukesh's elder brother's wife, his bhabi, the bahu of the family. There is an old fellow, of course, the father. Maybe there is grandmother as well. So there are so many, but every house has this has the same story, pathetic story. So Mukesh represents the children community, 20,000 children, he represents that pathos. His family represents all other families who are at Firozabad. And in this paragraph we get enough of the glimpses where we will find that there are dirty, filthy surroundings, unkempt houses, courtyards. Unkempt means all messed up. Bangles, 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 and bangles. If you have come across that poetry, the rhyme of Ancient Mariner by Coleridge. The rhyme of Ancient Mariner, what was the line? Water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. The same situation is here. Dazzling bangles, rainbow colors everywhere, but their life is so dull, is devoid of any good color of life. This is what we see through this paragraph. Dirty, filthy surroundings. They live in a slum. They are slum dwellers, devoid of the basic amenities of life and life itself. But they are bound to live because it is a crime to commit suicide. If law would be enforced, the 20,000 children working in those glass blowing industries, hurting their tender skin, they would be liberated. But who would do so? All corruption flourishing outside. The bahu of the house is a sweet little girl of a very tender age. Child marriage. Girls, the experiencing the worst sufferings. And she is the one and the only one to take care of every other member of the family, cooking food. And do you think that there is some modern cooking appliances out there? No. The smoking hearth, emitting all carbon monoxide and other other dangerous gases, poisonous gases, harmful gases, sulfur dioxide and carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, the charcoal. And at the age of 30, if she would go, she would be older, she would look older than 60 or 70 years of age woman. And similar is the condition of the others, of the other members of the family and of the society. Mukesh and his brother, the bhabi, Mukesh's brother's wife, and everybody else. Now father is retired, he cannot even do it because he is blind now. There are the grown-ups who are almost blind. They are just trapped in various stigmas also. And when the father-in-law comes, the bahu has to follow all the traditions also, the age-old traditions and the practices. She has to wheel herself, घूंघट लगाना पड़ता है because ससुर जी सामने है. So she has to bow down, then she has to follow all the family rules. This is further stigma. She has to wheel herself. She has to cook food. She has to take care of every other member. And she is just a girl of 14, 15, 16, something like that. If such a girl has a baby, then you can understand the troubles. This is the life of the people out there. And the worst sufferings happen to such girls, like his elder brother's wife. So we get a glimpse of the surroundings, all dirty and filthy, unkempt houses, bangles, 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 dazzling, dazzling and colorful bangles out there, but their life is full of dullness. An air of gloom hovers over their life. Okay, so this is what happens there. Thank God, current is back. So this is what we get a glimpse of. In this case, the elder is an empowered. Now, who is the elder? Who is the father here? In this case, I'll quickly move to the end part of this paragraph. Despite long years of hard labor, in this case, the elder is an impoverished bangle maker. Despite long years of hard labor, first as a tailor, then a bangle maker, he has failed to renovate a house even, send his two sons to school even. All he could manage, all he has managed to do is teach them what the art that he knows. What is the art? Art of bangle making. Oh, this is how the bangles are made, and they have learned it, and every single family, all the members are engaged in doing one thing, and for their masters who are powerful people, they do just one thing, every single member, the children, the elders, and that is bangle making. So the glass blowing industry of Firozabad. Poverty-stricken people, suffering souls, pathetic situation. They cannot, they must not dream. This is what the outside world would compel them. So there is a world inside, there is a world outside. Stigmas from within, from without, outside. It is his karma, his destiny, says Mukesh's grandmother, who has watched her own husband go blind with the dust from polishing the glass of bangles. Can a God-given lineage ever be broken? अरे ये तो हमारी किस्मत में लिख गया है, अरे इसको हम क्या तोड़ सकते हैं कभी? She has this notion. This is highly negative, but what can be done? We can just feel sorry for these poor people. Born in the caste of bangle makers, they have seen nothing but bangles. In the house, in the yard, in every other house, every other yard, every street in Firozabad. Spirals of bangles, sunny gold, paddy green, royal blue, pink, purple, every color born out of the 7 colors of the rainbow, lie in mounds in unkempt yards, all messy around there. all unkempt yards, are piled on four-wheeled handcarts pushed by young men along the narrow lanes of the shanty town. What a description, what a pathetic situation that has been described through the beautiful use of these words. Sentences are blend uh, beautifully. And in dark hutments, smaller than the hut, wobbly doors and shaky walls, any time it would crumble on their head. This is what their life is. Their life is all dull. And in the dark hutments, next to lines of flames of flickering oil lamps, sit boys and girls with their fathers and mothers. Nobody goes to school. No child goes to school. Their eyes are more adjusted to the dark than to the light outside. Now they have become almost nocturnal. Even in the broad daylight, their eyes are adjusted to only darkness, because they are toiling away their daylight hours in the darkness. And pathetic situation for them. That is why they often end up losing their eyesight before they become adults. Okay, so this is the situation of their lives. Now, I was talking about the girl community. Let us have an example that has been cited here. Savita, who represents the girl community out there. Savita, a young girl in a drab pink dress, sits alongside an elderly woman, soldering pieces of glass. As her hands move mechanically like the tongs of a machine, I wonder if she knows the sanctity of the bangles she helps make. She has no idea that the bangles she is making is somebody's dreams fulfilled, very made for some sacred situation, made to have some rituals happen. Dazzling, colorful bangles. She has no idea what she is doing. Like Sahib Alam had no idea what the grandness was associated with his name, how grand his name was, the master of the universe. Same, Savita does not have any idea. And the woman, the old woman who has gone through all such situations, she is sitting there and she has the similar story. She has the story that Savita is about to follow. She is the girl. That old woman might have been the girl, and before age she grows old and her husband blind. The flowing beard in the husband, that is what they are left with. Some at least have a house, so they feel proud when they say, oh, मेरा घर बना रहे हैं, उसकी मरम्मत करा रहे हैं, renovation. So they feel that they are at least better than the ones who have nothing to find shelter into, no house, no roof over their head. एक वक्त शेर भर खाना भी नहीं खाया, she says in a voice drained of joy. She has not enjoyed even one full meal in her entire lifetime. This is what the old woman and with her experience. That is what she has reaped. Her husband, an old man with a flowing beard, says, I know nothing except bangles. All I have done is make a house for the family to live in. This is the thing that they could do. This is the pathetic situation. Hearing them, one wonders. Anees Jung also wonders. Hearing them, one wonders if he has achieved what many have failed in their lifetime. He has a roof over his head. The cry of not having money to do anything except carry on the business of making bangles, not even enough to eat, rings in every home. So this is not just their story, it is everybody's story. And the sadness, the gloom, the pathos prevails, thrives in every single house. The bangle-makers of Firozabad, renowned for their dazzling, bright, colorful, creative, innovative bangles. In great contrast, their own life. Anees Jung, why do you not organize yourself? Huh, what an idea. Yes, somebody in our community tried it, but was put into prison, was tortured, third degree torture. Oh, you dare to try to come out of the clutches. Okay, I'll tell you. The, the, the corrupt people would say, the exploiters would say, the police, corrupt politicians, they have to use them as vote banks. How can they leave them? The money lenders, they are forever for them. They must be there forever for them, working for them, doing their petty errands and working in their glass blowing industries. They would never want them to find liberation, such as. So somebody might have tried to initiate, but it was trampled, it was crushed forever. And now they do not even dare to initiate. Who would dare to do so? People would be banned, the police would ban them, put them in jail. So they dare not. Okay, so this is the journey that they have to go through. Even if we get organized, some says, we are the ones who will be hauled up by the police, beaten and dragged to jail for doing something illegal. And nobody is there to defend. So what would they do? So they dare not give it a try. Now this is the situation. Their fathers are as tired as they are. They are tired and their fathers are as tired as they are. I'll take 2-3 more minutes. Okay? Be patient before we would wind up. I'll quickly move on to the climax. They talk endlessly in a spiral that moves from poverty to apathy to greed and to injustice. See the line. From poverty to apathy, they grow indifferent. They grow numb. Now they are devoid of emotions even. Somebody beats them, they have to be, the internal stigma, they take it as their destiny. What else can they do? From poverty to apathy to greed and to injustice. And amongst them, there are the ones who become frustrated enough and they are dragged into crime and they become criminals and they further have to suffer because they would always be caught there as looters or dacoits or shoplifters or pickpockets. They are recorded there in the local police register. So whenever something like that would happen, they would be caught straight away and nobody is there to defend their rights. This is the life. The climax part, listening to them. Now Anees Jung observes. So listening to them, she grows sad as well. And we find the pathos in their lives and something must be done. Maybe we grow empathetic and try to become capable enough and good enough to do something for them, for these poor people. Nobody is to care for them. Listening to them, I see two distinct worlds. I told you one world is from within, the internal stigma, superstition, child marriage, internal hindrances to any liberation, and the outside world. So there are two worlds. What are they? Internal world that hinders their liberation, that hinders their progress at any level, and the external world that is there to torment them, that is there to bully them, that is there to exploit them at all levels. Everybody must suffer. The outside world would ensure the privilege and the inside the lack of any good. Listening to them, I see two distinct worlds. One of the family caught in the web of poverty, burdened by the stigma of caste in which they are born, and the other is a vicious circle of the sahukars, the outside world. Sahukars, the middlemen, the policemen, the keepers of law, the bureaucrats, and the politicians, all corrupt people. And both these worlds, from within and the outside world, together they would join hands and would crush the future and the fate of the poor child. So who is the ultimate sufferer? The child is the ultimate sufferer. It is said the child is the father of man. The child that is today would one day become a man. But what is the fate? Because it has already been crushed by these two worlds, internal stigmas, and you're feeding him with the negativity. The girl child, the further sufferer. Or both these worlds, they crush the future of the child. That is what is observed here, and we understand well. I'm coming to the final part. To do anything other than this bangle making at Firozabad is daring to make a move against these people's willfulness, and that is not. That is what they are not going to accept. So they are there to hinder it, the outside. And daring is not part of their growing up. They cannot possibly dare. They have forgotten to dare. They have forgotten to dream. But when Anees Jung sees a streak of light in Mukesh, she feels overjoyed. She is thrilled to find the streak of light. Now refer to the very first starting line. I want to become a motor mechanic. The starting of liberation is where your thought lies. If thought is positive, that is the starting of the liberation. And quickly, take just 1 minute. I want to be a motor mechanic, Mukesh when said, she was filled with joy. Oh, he dreams. But the garage is a long way from his home, so it is very hard to do that. I'll walk, he insists. He has a dream, he wants to apply efforts. No, he is suddenly silent. I'll walk, he insists. Do you also dream of flying a plane? No. But even his dream is limited. Even his dream is limited. No, he says, staring at the ground. In his small murmur, there is an embarrassment that has not yet turned into regret. He is content to dream of cars that he sees hurtling down the streets of his town, but few airplanes fly over Firozabad. So he dreams, it's okay, but even his vistas are not to that extent. So he can possibly dream of becoming a car mechanic or something like that, or owning a car shop or something like that, the mechanic shop. He wants to become his own master, that is all okay. But that is not the ultimate liberation, because he cannot possibly dream to become a pilot. So even his dreams are limited, but at least some streak of light is there in him, and Anees Jung and we as readers feel happy with that. So this is the culmination of the episode number 2. If you have a question, you may drop it in, and I will certainly respond to your questions. God bless all of you for being patient and being good listeners. Thank you. Thumbs up. Take good care. Here we come to the end of Lost Spring by Anees Jung. Stories of Stolen Childhood. If you have a question, I have the answer.